I just explained to the German audience, you are one of the biggest colonoscopy study producers, also randomized ones in Italy. You are dealing.
Thanks, Thomas.
Hi. You're dealing with screening colonoscopy as well as with imaging techniques and a lot of very good publications. And therefore, we hope that you will tell us at the end of this webinar what is a good colonoscopy. What are the key factors for the success?
Yeah. Thanks, Thomas. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so first let me say it is a pleasure to be here, of course, to stay with you, but also when I was a bit younger, I visited the center, went to pay tribute to Hermann Brenner, and with Ulrike, I get what they did is outstanding. But the problem here, Thomas, is not the epidemiology. The problem is the colonoscopy. You are right. I spent all my life in improving colonoscopy, but I'm not happy, not only of my life, but also of colonoscopy, because this is too far from being a standard. There is too much variability in patient outcome. I look at some slide by Ulrike, despite I can understand German, it was clear. And there are too many technical limitations. Whatever you do, even if it is simple, it is limited. And then we go through all of this. But first, I want to somewhat link the two parts of this workshop. And I want to pay tribute to epidemiologists because probably the best engine for colonoscopy is not the endoscopist, but it is the organization. I anticipated to Thomas that I would have presented these data that are now submitted, where we looked at the relationship between the adenoma detection rate and the risk of post-colonoscopy cancer, not in an opportunistic environment, but in a programmatic screening with FIT. And differently from the opportunistic screening, we show that there is no association between the skill of the endoscopist in detecting adenoma and the risk of post-colonoscopy cancer when this is within a program. Why is that? I guess there are several reasons. First, of course, FIT positive is an enriched disease. This may facilitate the efficacy of colonoscopy in preventing cancer. Secondly, any endoscopist, before getting into the FIT program, is retrained, is accredited, and there is a quality assurance, direct or indirect monitoring. In addition, FIT program somewhat prevent the post-colonoscopy cancer or its mortality by inviting people at FIT after a negative colonoscopy after 5 years from a negative colonoscopy. And in addition, don't underestimate that in a FIT program, high-risk patients are actively re-invited to surveillance, so we don't lose them. So my first recommendation is to put endoscopy under the umbrella of a program. I know in Germany you have very good program with colonoscopy, but please do it. Let's come to the technical part. In any live event, you always see the second part of the endoscopy, that is the withdrawal. Why? Because not endoscopists would be happy to do the insertion live, because it is still one of the less standardized part of the procedure. No endoscopist is 100% safe and sure to get to the cecum before starting a procedure. And to do it in a relatively short time, and to do it in conscious sedation without causing pain. Of course, probably there is some technicality in it, but if you inquire the endoscopist about what is an alpha and an gamma loop, And often it does happen if they do dissolve, I guess you would receive only silence. And there is somewhat a compensation between the poor technique and a good sedation. Probably it's better to have poor technique, good sedation than poor technique with poor sedation. So can we improve? So as Thomas knows, in our center, it took 20 years to move Thomas from air to CO2, waste of time. It took just a few months to move from CO2 to water. Yes, water. Because my best friend Brian demonstrated that the water prevent looping, looping prevent pain, and simplify insertion. So please drone your insertion problem if you want to pass colonoscopy, if you want at least pass insertion. And endoscopy pretend not to give any pain to the patient, but actually, when you have feedback from the patient, most patients complain pain of the procedure. So I want to pay tribute the German community, German society, because they implemented the most simple, let me say, a stupid procedure that is needed from patient, that is the non-anesthesiologist administration problem. I really don't know why Italy, France, UK are so crazy in not doing such a simple but beneficial step for their patients. So I guess you are ahead of us. But there are still some problems in colonoscopy withdrawal. Oh, we optimize withdrawal quality courses, workshop, blah, blah, blah. It's still difficult. Let me, he did this analysis comparing the studies where a device, mechanical, was introduced to improve the navigation as compared with a imaging device to improve recognition. And Thomas showed that the most benefit come when testing some mechanical devices. So probably there is some mechanical problem in colonoscopy. This is a colonoscopy I did some time ago. Despite I gave my best, I put Buscopan and blah, blah, blah. While withdrawing, actually, as you will see, I missed here on the right part a big polyp that I will redetect only when I re-enter. See, here I'm coming out, then something happens. So I'm okay, just go to have a second look. Okay. And then on the right part, this part. How often I would have missed this polyp if I wouldn't have gone back? This is unacceptable. This is not a 2 millimeter adenoma. This is a sessile lesion. So it's not good. Is mechanical help helpful? Absolutely. This is the cat. You see how you can squeeze, compress, flatten the fold, see all of it circumference. The problem is that all of these devices are somewhat uncomfortable to the endoscopy. They give more pain, there's a lot of procedure, they cost somewhat a lot of money. So all of us know that it works, but most of us do not use it. So what we need is an external observer. Probably all humanity would be better if we could have an external observer, but now the endoscopy has an external observer, and this is artificial intelligence that tell us whether we complete the procedure up to the appendix forum, and it measure our speed time of withdrawal and whether there is a sleepy withdrawal. I will try to accelerate. I mean, it goes on the right side. Now, see, it's on the right. It's red. It's too much. I accelerated. This is the first. But look at this by Google. This is based on the same CAD that you use for architecture. And this is what I really dream. A software that tells me if I had any blind spot in my withdrawal. This will be a game changer. This will standardize colonoscopy forever. But let me say that you cannot really improve colonoscopy if you don't revolutionize its design. We need, like a Tesla, we need someone coming here and redesigning this scope. On the other hand, I'm very happy that probably the only problem we solved is detection. Let's structure detection in different steps. So first, the new era of colonoscopy started when we introduced the split bowel prep. This is a very linear paper by my best friend Franco Radaelli with the split versus non-split with primary endpoint detection of advanced neoplasia with bowel prep. And it showed the efficacy split, not in improving cleansing, but improving detection. This is the second paper on the low side of my best friend Ale Repici, comparing 1 liter of PEG with 4 liter. This is now bigger. And Repici showed that high volume doesn't mean better preparation. Of course, it is rational. 4 liters is better than 1 liter. But actually, when you measure the outcome, it's the opposite. 1 liter is better 4 liters. This was the Plembo prep. Second, in order to improve your detection, you need to have high definition. Thomas showed that with a few jump of equipment, you have a better outcome. And I get this is consistent throughout all of the studies. So please use high definition. But third, you need to know what to do with high definition. And the problem of endoscopists is that they see what they know to see. But here you need experience in a tertiary center where they remove non-granular ST to understand that the loss of vessel, the localized reddish area, the deformity of the fold are a sign of large non-granular ST that may harbor an advanced neoplasia or even a submucosal cancer. In order to somewhat facilitate, a light can increase the contrast between the lesion and the surrounding mucosa. And since we use this light to characterize, it is quite self-evident that this light increases the contrast and the detection. The problem, this is the meta-analysis with NBI, is that the dark colonoscopy, the dark light colonoscopy is quite boring unless you do very high-risk patients. For this reason, I want to pay tribute to Olympus to have introduced this TXI light that I really like because it preserves the contrast between the lesion and the surrounding mucosa of the NBI, but without creating that dark environment. You have the same whitish environment of a white light colonoscopy. But this is what I love the most, probably because when I was a student, I wanted to do informatics rather than medicine, but then informatics came into medicine by deep learning. We have the automatic detection of lesion. This is new standard. I would never do any colonoscopy without my AI machine, or better, it is the AI to do a colonoscopy with me. And this is the example where you can measure your own mind, and you may see how AI is always first against your mind in detecting even multiple lesions in the same frame. And these are other video in the case you were not exposed in your center to AI. I advise everyone to have a trial with AI, because AI help to know better you, to know better ourselves, to know better that we continuously miss lesions and that we need this machine to redetect them. So the idea of AI is to protect the patient from suboptimal quality of both expert and inexpert. We always say, oh, look, the expert should improve. No, we protect the patient from the expert who does not improve. This is the ultimate guarantee to our patients. And the same problem is with characterization. All endoscopy appear to be very proficient in characterizing small polyp. Oh, what is less than 5 millimeter adenoma? But then we exploited the AI validation studies to extract data on endoscopies looking at artificial frame of polyp, and the actual accuracy of this endoscopy in characterizing small polyp was very far from the 90% cutoff that we are dreaming. So human endoscopy cannot characterize properly unless coming from tertiary center with special expertise. And so again, it will be the artificial intelligence to change it. 1, 2 frame are enough. This machine to understand what is black, adenoma, and what is right, hyperplastic polyp. Does it mean that the problem is solved? No. Most endoscopies until now just pretended not to give importance to characterization. But now you have a diagnosis in front of you. Now the endoscopies read whether it is neoplastic or not. This means that endoscopies must take an action. They must confirm or don't confirm. And in order to do this, they must become proficient in characterization. So there is no risk of de-skilling. There is a risk of hyper-skilling with AI, because AI put endoscopies in front of their own responsibility. And this is the same. This is the cat eye by Fujifilm that characterize either hyperplastic or the adenoma. This is the study we did in Common in Humanitas, showing that with AI we are going well, we can go better. And we also showed that the trainee endoscopy improved their own performance during the study. Finally, we always talk about quality, but most endoscopy don't know their own quality. And this is because there is no automatic translation of data between reporting and the key quality indicator measurement. This is why Matt Rutter talked with all the companies, and he pretended in the UK that all the companies provided software for reporting that automatically aggregated data and provided the key quality indicators. But if you don't live in UK, you don't need to lose your hope, because there is a lot of software about the natural language extraction and mining of data from a simple report in order to collect the adenoma detection rate. In addition, if you have an AI system able to characterize, you can use this to automatically project the ADR of the endoscopies, and we are showing that this is a hugely effective. So what we are ending is an ADR measurement without histology. This is big step for quality. So am I happy? No. I'm happy that we can finally put the colonoscopy in the right setting. I'm still looking for a better insertion. I'm very happy for AI assistance for detection. I hope it may improve also the navigation. I guess that AI for small polyp, but also for T1, for high-grade dysplasia and Barrett, for early gastric cancer, will be game changing. I feel that companies should support more us in our need for standardizing our quality assurance, and we should promote and not obstacle this process. So this was my last slide.
Okay, Cesare, this was a brilliant state of the art. We are very impressed, especially
thanks.
there's a lot of room for improvement. I think to conclude, so we won't discuss this because I think a lot is very evident. But to conclude, a lot can be done by the computer if it's adequately trained, but you have to get the damn scope up there and you have to clean the colon. So these are two issues which cannot be solved by artificial intelligence as yet.
Okay. You are fully right as usual, Thomas.
So thank you very, very much for concluding this session. Auch dir, Michael, herzlichen Dank. Ich glaube, wir haben viel gelernt und es geht weiter im Oktober und November und Dezember mit weiteren Sendungen von DGEBV Online. Bleiben Sie uns treu. Vielen Dank.
Schönen Abend.